Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant. Streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at WarnerArchiveInstant.com. Support for Just Seen It comes from Weaver's Coffee and Tea, makers of hand-roasted artisan coffee and hand-blended tea. Learn more at weaverscoffee.com. A mafia boss and his family enter the witness protection program in France. But as they deal with their problems their own way, they blow their cover.
Getting tired of finding you a new place to live every 90 days. You know what's going to happen to you and your family when they find you.
So the mafioso they snitched on comes back to get revenge in The Family.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
I'm Zorianna.
And I'm Salim. And we're here to talk about the new Robert De Niro movie, The Family. We've all just seen it. Rachel, what'd you think?
This movie is actually based off of a book by Tonino Benequesto, which it's hard to imagine this movie being based off of a book. It almost reminds me of The Addams Family. It's sort of got like a vampire slayer feel because it's just so cartoony and so violent and so over the top.
I completely agree with you.
And I don't mind it, by the way.
Really? Well, I unfortunately, see, that's interesting. I did mind it, mainly because it was very inconsistent. It was all over the place. It was comedic at times. Other times, I couldn't really get on board the characters because they were a little psychotic.
It was almost like it wasn't quite sure what genre it wanted to be, and it probably should have picked one.
Mm-hmm. So I think the reason that the writing is not as streamlined is because Luc Besson does not have his normal writing partner here, Robert Kamen, who's helped him write movies like The Fifth Element and The Professional. Instead, he has Michael Caleo, who's done stuff like The Sopranos, who helps bring in the expertise, but I don't think he allows him to have such a streamlined story.
You have an American New York mafia family that moves to a teeny tiny French village.
Mm-hmm.
So there could have been so many opportunities for culture clashes. We've seen that in great movies like Coming to America. We've even seen them in action films like the Rush Hour film when they went to Paris. I never felt like there was much of a culture shock for this family because if they didn't like something or they didn't like someone, they just killed them.
Exactly,
well, yeah,
exactly.
I mean, but see, I thought this could be one of those movies where you've got the sarcastic teenage girl and she hates her dad and like the kids are all sick of moving around, that sort of thing. I love the fact that it's the opposite of that, where it's like this family that's really adept at moving around, at doing all these lies. They're just as messed up as him, so it's not like, oh, daddy's dragging us around. They're all violent and psychotic and crazy in different ways that come out rather surprisingly to me. I thought that was really fun and unusual.
It just started hitting me over the head with it after a certain point, like literally hitting me. Like, Then the scenes, they just didn't add anything. It just showed me over and over that this is a very violent family
with a lot of serious issues.
Exactly,
Yes.
and they were glossing over it as if it was comedic and not, like I said, kind of psychotic.
I mean, it was psychotic, and it was a little bit disturbing, and there are parts where there's so much violence and bludgeoning that the human body starts to lose its meaning.
Because it becomes indiscriminate.
Yes, but on the other hand, I feel like this is not a plot-driven movie. It's sort of a slapstick movie, and it's also, surprisingly enough, a character-driven movie.
Yeah. You know, the guy was trying to rip me off, so put yourself in my shoes.
Well, I definitely wouldn't have beat him up. I mean, who's gonna fix the pipes now?
Well, who's gonna rebuild the supermarket that burned down the day we got here? Huh?
The strength of this film is the cast. Tommy Lee Jones, Robert De Niro, Michelle Pfeiffer, Diana Agron, and John DeLeo. They were fantastic.
They were.
How was the first day?
It was pretty good.
Anything to report?
Nothing.
Heard you already met the neighbor.
The guy on the left, yeah.
What'd you talk about?
Nothing much. Roses mostly.
Try to fit in, will you, Freddie? I'm getting tired of finding you a new place to live every 90 days. Can I rely on you to try?
Sure, as long as I can rely on you.
You know what's going to happen to you and your family when they find you.
You're here to make sure that don't happen, right?
I liked the fact that each character had its own storyline. Usually when you have a family situation, the focus is on mom and dad, and the kids are sort of these side characters. But here, both kids had their own separate storylines, and I liked that.
In terms of acting, the standout for me is Diana Agron. She's beautiful, she has this nuanced character, she got a lot that's going on underneath, and she has to deal with these very adult emotions, which I thought was great.
What are you guys doing?
It is just 5 minutes to get to know each other better. Oops.
Hey, boys. If this is your approach to women, you're not gonna get very far.
My issue with Luc Besson, I've actually been a very big fan of him since The Fifth Element, The Professional. However, now he's trying to create this French studio machine. So he's making a movie just about every year, writing or directing, Transporter, Lockout, Columbiana, the list goes on. And as a result, a lot of his movies are a little cookie cutter. They're not
watered down.
They're very watered down. They're very easy to kind of follow. They're not that spectacular. So it robs it of the creativity, and it robs it of anything
It's because
spectacular.
they're rushed. I feel like
Completely rushed,
they're very rushed to just put out product through this studio. And I wished he would slow down and discover a Natalie Portman, or take a Mila Jovovich and transform her into an action star. And we're not getting that here.
Unfortunately, the family is filled with coincidences and cliches and jumps around on tone, never landing on anything consistent. Stream it.
Despite the high-profile cast, to me, this film is neither here nor there. Stream it.
This film is fun. It's not high art, but I think the demographic it's intended for will really enjoy it, and the performances are very strong. See it.
All right, our votes add up to 2 tickets, which is a stream it for the family.
Cheers.
Amiglia!
Why'd you do that? Oh,
Hey, calm down.
Oh my goodness.
Forget about it.
Support for Just Seen It comes from Weaver's Coffee and Tea, makers of hand-roasted artisan coffee and hand-blended tea. Learn more at weaverscoffee.com. Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant, streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at warnerarchiveinstant.com.